Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast, helping you achieve financial independence through real estate investing, one episode at a time. We talk about personal finance, mindset, and real estate investing. Whether you're a rookie or looking to scale your portfolio, we're here to provide you with the tactics and actionable steps to achieve your goals. Here are your hosts, Diego Corzo and Ward Mahoney.
Welcome to another podcast of the FI Investors. I am very excited because we are back. We took a little bit of time off from the podcast because we've been working on some stuff in the background with Ward, with the team, and we're super excited to relaunch the podcast so that we can continue having amazing guests, giving amazing value so that we can help you become a financial independent investor. So today we have an amazing guest. We have Cristian Amparan. He is 29 years old. He's been able to become a millionaire by that age. And the best part throughout his whole journey is that he owns over 100 doors. He owns over 100 doors through the rent-to-own method. He has multiple properties as he's been doing co-living. He has an amazing portfolio. He's a great entrepreneur. He's an amazing realtor also out of Memphis with a great team. And you're going to love his story as how he's been able to do it with leveraging the right partners, how he grew the whole portfolio, and even what is coming next. So you guys are going to love the podcast. I've known Cristian for a few years, mentored him also one-on-one, and he's been a great member of the tribe. So that's what this is all about. You're going to love that podcast. Now, before we go into the podcast episode with Cristian, I want to share a few things that we've been doing here at the FI Investors. So now, one of the things that we are implementing and making sure that everybody, the members from the community, and also as we share on social media, we've been working a lot in the background. And Roberto, one of the members of the team, we've been working on what we call the scale up method. So what does that mean? We wanted to share for investors that are looking to scale their real estate portfolio, sharing the scale method, which means basically the acronym, which will be strategy, capital, analysis, lead flow of properties, and execution. So that is the scale method that we are going to be implementing as we help the members, as we share more information here in the podcast, and also on the calls that we do. So and on the content that we provide on Instagram and everything. So with that said, we also revamped the FI Investors website. So if you guys go to thefiinvestors.com, you guys will be able to see the calculators. They're completely free. There's some videos, also some courses on the 6 keys to financial independence, and we're working on a lot more stuff for you guys. So with that said, without further ado, let's bring out Cristian. Cristian, how are you doing? Welcome to the FI Investors Podcast.
Hey, Diego, doing good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Man, I know that we've known each other for multiple years now. I've seen you grow throughout the years as a DACA recipient, as an investor, as a realtor. Everything that you're working on is very admirable. I would love to have you share a little bit about what your empire looks like, what you're working on, and then we'll work backwards.
Okay, yeah. Primarily I'm a realtor. I have one person under my team. She's like an executive assistant because she also helps me with things that I have to do in other businesses. But us together, we're gonna probably hit close to 100 transactions this year. And I've been a realtor for 5 years now. Half of that time I was working part-time because I was at T-Mobile before going full-time into real estate. I also have a rent to own business with a partner. We have about 130 properties together that we help people basically finance through our company. And I also own co-living properties. I'm actually under contract with my fourth co-living property, and I have uh, traditional long-term rentals with other partners. I have about 20 doors, and I also manage properties for a few people, sometimes clients that I meet as a realtor that they're upgrading house and they want to rent their previous home. I'll help them rent it and manage it.
Christian, that is amazing. And how old are you?
I'm 29.
29 years old, have a portfolio of 130 rent to own properties. You mentioned around 20 or 24 rentals. Realtor business that sells so around 100, that helps around 100 families a year, and then co-living and everything. So this is awesome. You're doing a lot, and it sounds like with the right people in place and everything, the right investors, the right partners,
Yeah.
sorry, that's how you're able to create that leverage. For people that may not know, can you explain a little bit what the rent to own process is?
Yes. Well, as a realtor, I have a lot of clients. I'm based out of Memphis, which is it's one of the affordable cities where you can still do BRRRR strategies, and you can still cash flow. It's a cash flow city. But here as a realtor, I get a lot of clients that try to apply for a traditional mortgage, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, they can't get approved or they can't get a loan the traditional way. So what we do is we help them uh, basically help them become bankable through us. What we do is we buy the house for them with a commercial loan, and then they pay us under a rent to own agreement so that the house will eventually become theirs once it's paid off. And it's typically a 10 or 15-year contract with no prepayment penalty. It's fixed rate the entire time. Um, and they usually put about 20% down payment to get into the home. And it's homes that are from anywhere from 100 to 250,000. So these are typically smaller loans. A lot of our clients actually make extra payments because they pay the houses off a lot quicker than the 10 or 15 years that's on the contract.
Okay, okay. And so you say you have around 130.
Yes.
How old were you, or how long ago did you get started using this strategy?
Yeah, good question. So in 2021, I actually met my partner. We did a deal on a street called Fairmont. That's where my name of the company came from, Fairmont
Mm.
Enterprises.
I know
And
that name because I'm one of the lenders for you, one of the hard money lenders. So
yeah,
that's
thank
awesome.
you. But so I met him in 2021, and he had another company that basically did the same thing before I was involved. And he had been doing it for about 7 years. And so when he told me about what he did, I saw the opportunity that that's something that my clients needed. And I sent him a couple of clients that year. Well, by the end of the year, the end of 2021, I actually told him, hey, man, I would love to partner up with you. And if you make me a partner, I can help you grow this thing. His company had about 55 properties to 60 at that time. Um, and so he agreed. He was excited about it too. And in early 2022, we started that company. And so now that company, almost 3 years later, has over 90 properties. And uh, the company that he had, actually late last year, I had the opportunity to buy his partner out. So I also became partner in that company. And that's why together we have about 130.
That is amazing. Wow. And then, so the way that that works, as you were explaining it earlier, the way that you make the money as the investor, right, is that you make the difference of the income of the payment from the family that's living in the property, that between the commercial loan rate and that rate that you're giving them, correct?
That's correct. Yes, the banks that we work with a lot of local banks in town. They know exactly what we do and they actually love our business model. Uh, Mainly because these are not traditional tenants, you know. These are tenants that have ownership interest in the property and they're putting 20% down. So they're going to take care of these houses. They're not going to skip town and not make payments. But basically, we get investment loans, so we have to make a profit. There's what's called a debt service coverage ratio. So whatever we charge or whatever our payment is, there's a certain percentage that we have to make a spread on top of that. And what's also really great about these contracts is that these are triple net leases. That's kind of a familiar term in the commercial world, but basically they're responsible for taxes. So whatever the taxes are, they have to make that payment, and we charge that separately. We don't do an escrow, and we don't try to keep up with all of that. They're responsible for their insurance, property insurance, and they're also responsible for maintenance. So there's practically no cost from us once we help the family buy that house. There's just a spread every month, and it's not a big spread. It's, you know, you're not gonna get rich off these houses, but when you add them up and you get to the kind of volume that we have, it can be pretty nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. And now, as as they're buying the homes, right? They get to do everything as if they would be a regular buyer, correct? Like they get to do an inspection on the home and everything to make sure that they're buying a good home that works for their terms,
That's
correct?
right. That's right. There's people that do this rent to own, and what they do is they buy the house first, and then they advertise it or market it rent to own. But I found that to be very hard to do. I tried that on one house, and I didn't really like the process because buying a home is a very personal thing. And so what we do is we find the client that needs us first. Typically, it's my clients as a realtor, but we also work with other realtors in town that send us their clients.
Mm,
And when they find the house that they want, that realtor or me will make the offer, and they're the ones that make the decisions. What offer price, how much closing costs they need, you know, inspection period, and all of that. They'll negotiate the inspection, the repairs, um, just like a regular home buying process, except the buyers are us, our company.
got it. Got it. Now, what on the rent to own, um what is the biggest issue that you have seen that deals with investing in with this strategy, right? To be able to build cash flow with this strategy. I know that some people that are listening in the audience might say, "Hey, I don't know if this will work on my market. How can I get started?" What will you recommend to somebody that's getting started? And what will be their biggest obstacle in the beginning?
I would say you need three things, right? Number one, you have to be in the right market. It has to be an affordable market because we are charging higher rates than whatever the banks charge us. And typically we pay the prime rate. So we have to charge a little bit over the prime rate. So that's number one. It has to be an affordable market where the loans are small and they can pay down these houses and make the 20% down payments because they're doing these over 10 to 15 years. So they're actually paying less interest total than what a 30-year mortgage would you would pay on a 30-year mortgage with a 6 or a 7% rate. However, the payments are much higher. So there has to be a market that's affordable. Number two, you have to know where to find or there has to be the demand for this. And I think there is demand for this all over the country, to be honest with you. But you have to know where how to find them. And so I think the people perfect for this are realtors. Me, myself, I do a lot of Facebook publicity, Facebook marketing, and that's how I got the majority of my business, and pe now people recommend me and know me as someone that can kind of do private money loans for them. And then third, and this is kind of where my partner came in. He was actually a commercial banker for 25 years. So you have to have the relationship with the banks to
Mhm.
be able to get these loans uh, easily, because when you sign a contract that you're going to buy a house, you have to feel confident that you can get that loan and buy that house for that family. If not, you are making everybody, look bad, or you're gonna get everybody upset at you if you can't uh get the loan to buy the house. So you got to have the banking relationships, and there's that we can go into a whole nother conversation about how to do that. But those are the three things: the market, the buyer, the people, and then the banks.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because the market definitely needs to be it needs to make sense for the people, for the families to be able to afford those types of homes.
Yes.
And like you said, I really when you told me about that strategy and how it's working for you, I was like, it makes sense because the families are choosing that home, right?
Yeah,
And they are
they
the
are.
ones that fall in love with that home, and then they're putting down 20% down.
Yes.
So it's like they're committing to that.
Yes.
So that's one thing that allows this to work. And if for whatever reason, what would happen if they stop paying? What would be that process?
We haven't had that issue over 100 properties, and we haven't had not one single person, miss their payments. But what we would do is we would talk with them and figure out what the situation is. And if they can't keep up with their payments, then we need to see if maybe we can, number one, sell the house for them, right? Because, they put in 20% down, there's probably equity in the house. So
Hmm.
we can sell it for them. There will be fees associated with that, but whatever that proceeds are and the loan balances, we'll give it back to them. And then number two is we could possibly find a tenant or a traditional tenant to rent it off of them, because the payments here in Memphis typically are lower, where sometimes the rents can cover that service coverage, or can cover the payment.
That's pretty good then. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you've been able to build some cash flow with that strategy.
Oh, yes.
Uh yes. And then but you mentioned you also own like 20 or 20 other properties, and you recently bought a couple of co-living properties, correct?
Yes, yes, I still do the traditional investor stuff, which is long-term rentals. There's a lot of houses here in Memphis that you can buy for under 100, fix them up,
Mhm.
rent them, and the rents can easily cover the debt service. And then also, I really start once I met Sam Wiegert at Puerto Rico in that retreat, and then we had that episode, that not episode, but that call with Pat Splits, and they showed us the numbers. That same day when I saw those numbers, I started looking for houses on the MLS that could fit 7 to 8 bedrooms, and I went under contract with one the next day. And and within 2 months I got a second house. But that model has, even though that model, the co-living model, is supposed to be for those unaffordable cities, it really has worked well for me here in Memphis, because there is some construction going on around town, big projects. And so we're getting a lot of workers from other cities coming in, and those are the people that find me, and those are the people that rent those rooms from me, and it works.
Good. It sounds like, Christian, it sounds like you've been able to find like what I call like unfair advantages. Like you see the opportunity and you're like, you just see that and be like, okay, let me see how this can work in my market, right? And whenever and for everybody here, he is part of the FI Investors Mastermind. So when he was talking about the event in Puerto Rico, we had Sam Wiegert be one of the speakers. He's a really good friend of ours, and also we have a couple of members that work with Pat Split too. They were able to like because we share a lot of value on the FI Investors Mastermind, and one of the cool parts about it is that members can listen. Right, similar to how people are listening to this podcast, but the key thing is taking action, how quickly you can take action when you hear an idea or when you hear an opportunity. That is what shrinks the gap to success. And Christian, I have to give you a huge shout out because you are one of those people that I remember you were messaging on the chat, hey, I think I found one. And the next day you were under contract. So tell me a little bit about how that process worked on the co-living. Like what are the numbers and all of that so that we can learn.
Yeah, those first two houses that I bought are fully occupied right now. But basically, I bought it the first house with a DSCR loan. We had to put 25% down payment, so it was a big down payment, like 70 grand. The house cost like 250. But it was already renovated. And it was the perfect floor plan. Sam talks about how you want to buy these houses that are like boxes. And so downstairs there was two living rooms and a dining room, so in a bedroom. So in that bedroom didn't have like a master like a primary bathroom. It was shared with the people downstairs. So I saw that floor plan and we were able to get 8 rooms out of it. Three more downstairs and the four that it had upstairs. There was plenty of parking. Parking is another really important detail. But the numbers, I mean, our payments with principal, taxes, insurance, and the interest is about $1,800, and our rents are about total with once it's like 7 to 8 tenants, because sometimes tenants will leave, come in and out, but it's usually no less than six. That's one thing I like about this co-living strategy is that that property once it's up and running, it's typically always making cash flow or producing revenue. It never stops because one or two people may leave, but there's still the other six.
Mhm.
And also you get economies of scale because if one person calls because the AC went out, well, that solves the problem for all of the other eight. So it's like it's just one house, you manage 8 units, um, one roof, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think the max rents once all of them are occupied is about $4,200 on that house with the 1,700 debt service and all that. And then we pay a landscaping guy twice a week, $100, and we pay a housekeeper 300 once a month, 150 bi-weekly to come and clean the house, and we pay utilities. So maybe $2,800 in expenses because we also do like professional lawn treatment as well. We like these houses to look really, really nice so that the neighbors are happy and that we don't have any problems and that the tenants are happy paying us what they pay us.
Hmm.
So, but typically you'll cash flow anywhere from 500 to 1,200 a month.
Okay. That is that is awesome. So 1,000 a month, you're cash flowing.
And that's just cash flow. That is, you're not, I'm not including, the debt pay down and the appreciation and all of that.
Yeah. No, that is amazing. So you said that you already bought four, right?
Yes, I'm under contract with my fourth one.
Your fourth one. Okay. And how are you managing the tenants like as they move, as they come in, how long are the leases, stuff like that? I know that some people will have those questions.
Yeah, no, we do just month-to-month leases. Um, I'd self-manage everything. Uh, I have a pretty good system where all my businesses kind of synchronize and work together. And my assistant, she kind of helps me with all three businesses. So we just kind of and we have a really good app that we use to communicate between each other. So, and with our clients, so when someone calls or texts, we're both in the loop and whoever can get to that person faster. So we're very, very efficient. But there is definitely room for improvement. We were just talking about this, how I want to bring more people onto the team so I can free some up of my time and maybe work on other things. But I'm basically self-managing almost 50 units right now, and with the co-living, with the long-term rentals and other people's rentals that I manage. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And yes, I know that one of the things that you were saying as we were talking earlier about how to grow your team and stuff like that, one of the key things too that's been really good on your growth, because I've mentored you one-on-one for like 7 months or like 8 months. And having those weekly calls was really good in being able to just set the action plan, you doing it, and then seeing results right away.
Yeah.
And that for it was really cool. And this goes for everybody listening too, is that one, as I was coaching Christian too, there was that opportunity where we were talking about, hey, what are the bottlenecks right now that you've been scaling this or that? And you mentioned, hey, now I'm at the point that I do need to get some private money. How do I get some hard money loans, this or that? And because I knew the way that you did your portfolio and all of that stuff, I was like, Christian, I can be the one that gives you the money.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
were able to work that out. And I share this because it goes to show, like, first, in order for people to get that private money and be able to lend out and everything, there has to be a level of trust, right? And I know that you've also been able to grow your portfolio with private money, but also through a couple of other hard money companies. Can you mention a few of those? I know that one of them is Kiavi, but I would love for you to share, like, what has been the resources that have helped you out throughout as you've grown your portfolio.
Oh yeah. Well, I definitely got to say that I didn't do all of this alone. Every kind of entity or venture that I went into, there has always been partners.
Mhm.
Even my realtor business, I consider my assistant my partner. Um, but at the beginning stages, I joined a small brokerage, and I had a mentor that Howard that basically showed me the ropes. So I had took the fast lane to becoming a realtor. And he had already built well-established connections because he was in the business for about 5 to 7 years. And our attorney and our broker, they had been in the business for 20 plus years. So they had good portfolios, they had a businesses and whatnot. And the moment right after the right around let me see, 2021, I'm not sure when the pandemic happened, but
It was
in
2020, the pandemic.
2021, we decided to start flipping houses.
Hmm.
And it was me and my partner, my mentor, and we needed someone that could do the construction because one thing we realized is that you need to find the deals and sell the deals, but construction, the rehab can make it or break it for you. And
Hmm.
so we found a third partner and we started a partnership. And later we partnered with some wholesalers as well. But basically, we flipped about 20 houses from 2021 to 2022. And that was how we met actually at the event that you hosted in Jacksonville, Florida, where your brother was teaching how to do the wholesaling. We were trying to build a funnel for houses to buy. But to your question, the people that we used for to buy all those flips was our attorney and our broker. Those were the first two. Later, we found other people through networking and meetups and stuff like that, and it was always they were more personal lenders, not like it's not like a hard money lender that advertises it all to the public. It was more like I see what you're doing, I see your hustle, I trust you. And any loan request we had, even if it was crazy and the numbers didn't make sense, they would loan it to us, and we
Yeah.
made it happen.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's awesome. And one key thing that you shared that I really liked was the was that you've partnered up with people. right? That I think that for people to scale so that you can leverage different set of skills, you want to make sure that if you partner up with people that complement your skills, and you're leveraging other people's time, or as partners, you're leveraging like whatever unfair advantage, what I call like skill is, right? Whether it
Right.
is knowledge, time, money, connections, their network. And I feel like you've done a really good job because when we were chatting about the different partnerships that you had, they were all key people that had a key role in the business to help it grow. So that's been really good. And one other thing that I really like about how you set up what I'm calling your empire, right, is that you've been vertically integrating the different ways of how you of have you been able to grow your portfolio, whether they have been investing, right, or grow your cash flow through rent to own, and also your realtor business, to be able to help the families buy homes, right? So it's all in a circle, not vertically integrated, but it's more like in a circle
Yeah.
that it's like you can see a deal. This is what's so good about it. You can see a deal and be like, okay, what are my options for this deal? What are the exit strategies? And I feel like if investors can put themselves in a position where they can have multiple exit strategies, and they'll be successful because you've put yourself in a position where you can be like, okay, I'm going to see this property. It can be rent to own. I can do a flip. I can sell it as a realtor, like I can buy it, sell it, whatever, like wholesale it. And or you can even get it as a co-living property, right? So you have so many different types of exit strategies that that's why you're successful, right? With your business and being able to have the portfolio that you have. Now, to go so that you can tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Because you're also 29 years old. So you've accomplished a lot. Um, Especially becoming a millionaire, as we were talking about earlier, on paper. But hey, a millionaire is a millionaire in net worth. So that is awesome. You've been able to do that in your 20s, and especially as a DACA recipient, especially as a dreamer. And I feel like it's very important for people to know that too, even though sometimes some people might feel like, hey, I don't want to share that part or whatever. But I feel like it serves as an inspiration to other people, and I know that I always see your hustle on Instagram and everything, and it's like it's very inspiring. And to have seen you grow, it's been really rewarding, and especially as you continue to take action. So
Thank you.
yeah, tell us a little bit about that part of the story, of like how you've been able to like what has been your unfair advantage in being able to accomplish so much in your 20s.
Yeah. Well, it didn't start out great, of course. Being in high school, I didn't have, my papers and none of that. So college really wasn't an option for me. And it was kind of, high school was not the greatest uh, moments of my life just because of that. I was kind of depressed the entire time, thinking that, well, wondering what I would do with my life. But fortunately, uh, I my parents, they were in a multi-level marketing business, and multi-level marketing businesses are really good at teaching you about mindset and other skills, sales skills, people skills, communication that I really, really uh, took advantage of later on in life. But basically, how my journey has been, I became a waiter, a server, and that kind of taught me a lot of the people skills that I know. And then I got into sales at working for T-Mobile. I was doing that for about 7 years, and that also uh, helped me a lot in my sales and also in leadership because I became one of the youngest managers in that company at one point when I became a manager, and learned about managing people and speaking in public and stuff like that. Uh, and but I've always been really, really big into personal development. I always tell people that before they start investing in real estate, number one, they need to invest in their mindset in themselves.
Hmm.
And number two, a business that makes them a lot of money, like a money machine, like you say. And then three, real estate, to build wealth long term. But I've always been into personal development and also into fitness. Actually, when I left my job, I didn't leave it voluntarily. I got fired because of I guess they didn't like the fact that I was selling a lot of houses. And I didn't plan on leaving, I had a six-figure salary, so I was really comfortable and making money on the side as a realtor. That's those steady paychecks, they can become really comfortable. But when they fired me, I had just started doing CrossFit, and I decided that, I needed, once they fired me, it kind of lit the fire inside of me because they basically burned the bridges for me. I couldn't go back. I had to make real estate work. And
Hmm.
how I made it work was I would go work out every day at 5 a.m. to start the day really positive because I think you've started doing CrossFit recently as well, right?
Hmm.
And
I
and
just
you
did a
know,
class today, so it was good.
yeah. And those workouts aren't easy. They are tough,
Mhm.
especially at my gym. But
Yeah.
when you get done with a workout like that, you are, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm in another mindset. I'm wired differently. And so that those first 2 years going full time, I mean, I really, really hustled. I was working 14-hour days and taking power naps in the middle of the day. It was crazy.
Uh-huh.
But now, fortunately, I've built my businesses where I'm married now and I can come home at 5 o'clock and I can spend quality time with my partner and I can still work out. I work out in the afternoons now just because I feel better physically. I don't feel like I need to take those naps anymore. Um, but yeah, that's a little bit of my journey to where I am today.
Yeah. No, man, that is amazing. And I feel like what you mentioned of being able to put in the work, especially to create that active income so that then you can put it into passive income. I believe that that is very, very important. And especially in real estate, you can do active income, number one, as a realtor, as a flipper, and as a wholesaler, right?
Yeah.
That or like you can be a lender too and stuff like that, working for a mortgage lender. But from the perspective of like actual like real estate, I feel like that is if you want to be in the industry as a whole, doing real estate full time, like I do. For example, like I'm a realtor here in Austin. I have a real estate team. You're a realtor in Memphis. It creates that level of active income that you can deploy it to get assets that give you passive income or grow your net worth, whatever your strategy is of investing. Now, how, because you mentioned that you had a six-figure salary, and then you like basically you got fired. How old were you when that happened?
That was 2.5 years ago. So I was 29, 27.
Wow. How many properties did you have by the time that you were 27?
Well, I had started my rent-to-own business and we were about 10 properties at that time. Uh, I had probably two or three long-term rentals. So I couldn't be no more than 15, but I was doing uh, flipping and I was very active as a realtor. The year I got fired, 2022, I sold 79 houses.
79 houses the year you got
Yes.
fired?
But a lot of that was from the flips, so I was the listing agent on those
Mhm.
flips. And then a lot of that was 20 of those were rent to own. That year, the first year in business, we did 20 rent to own.
Wow.
And I got fired in the middle of the year.
Wow. So all this growth has been has literally been in the last 2.5 years. So it hasn't even been like, hey, I've been doing this for 8 years and I have over 100 properties doing this and that. No, you've been able to do it in your late 20s, basically, and accomplish that before you were 30. And
Yes.
my gosh, that is amazing. Huge shout out to you. Congratulations, because it's been incredible to see you grow over time. And I remember now when I met you in Jacksonville, at that wholesaling event that we did, and that was about that was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So that's awesome. Um, so where can the audience reach out to listen, to learn more about you, to connect with you? Let's say that, and my brain is going with ideas, so we're definitely gonna have to connect after this call. But where can people reach out to you?
Uh, I mainly Instagram. I'm not very active on Instagram. Uh, Actually, hardly ever do I post now. Um, so on Instagram, they can, have direct access to me. It's Christian without an H, Amparan. And then I'm very active. My team is on Facebook, where we just kind of post our houses, listings, and closings, and maybe some videos and stuff like that. But that's at Facebook Amparan Real Estate Group. And yeah,
Cool. And one last thing that I did wanted to mention, that I did like about what helped you in the beginning, to get you to the level that you are now. People forget, but it is the importance of starting the morning the right way with a morning ritual. Like you said, 5 a.m. you were at the CrossFit. This morning I was 6 a.m. at the workout at CrossFit. Whether it's CrossFit, whatever anybody does, you have to make sure that you have your morning routine that gets you started the right way, so that you can start with the right energy, putting yourself in the right frequency, so that you can attract those things and putting yourself in a good positions, to be able to hit your goals, with the right energy, but also, with the right game plan. Because if you wake up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and you start your day at that time, and by that time, it is too late to be able to accomplish everything that one may need to accomplish, to be able to achieve, if you have big goals, right? You need to make sure
yes,
that you're being productive, that you're starting the day right. Um, I know that, um Andres Bustamante, we always talk about like the power of the morning routine. And for anybody that's looking to like, how do I get a morning routine, or what should I do? I would recommend the book by Hal Elrod, The Miracle Morning. Really good book. So check that out. It will give you the insights of what has worked best for different people, so that you can get a lot of stuff done before 8 a.m. But
yes.
Christian, oh yeah.
I wanted to add, there has been a couple of books that have really changed my life, and Miracle Morning was one of them. It's one of the books that I always recommend. I read that book a little bit before I started doing CrossFit consistently. So that's why I love going to do CrossFit at 5 a.m. The other book that I highly recommend is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Mhm.
Just small, consistent actions over time yield massive results. And then, of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad, just it's kind of more like a mindset, spiritual book. Um, but yeah, you're right. Your energy is your most valuable asset, and you have to do everything you can to um, perform at a high level if you have big dreams and big goals.
Yes, 100%. And I feel um, like having the time to read those books, right, is those things that, would that give you the right mindset. Like if you want to get into the right mindset, like listen to Jim Rohn, read the books,
Jim
like
Rohn.
you were saying. And the reason why I mentioned Jim Rohn is because Darren Hardy used to be Jim Rohn's mentee, and from back in the day. So, and Jim Rohn used to be the mentor of Tony Robbins too, and all this other stuff. So Jim Rohn is like
Yeah.
the OG. And but those books basically just provides fuel. And one of the
Yes,
things that I
they do.
always say is like, hey, people might say, I don't have time to read, but there's Audible, there's books like in audio. So while you're driving, you can listen to those books, you can listen to podcasts, to
Podcasts,
Jim
yeah.
Rohn videos on YouTube. There's a 2 hour and 15-minute long video from Jim Rohn. It is so good. I've listened to it probably 40 times.
Yes.
It is amazing. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So Christian, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you, being able to share your story. it is inspiring and contagious of like what one can do when they want to achieve big things. And you being able to do it in your 20s, it is amazing. So it is an honor to know you and to have mentored you throughout the years too, to seeing you grow. And I can't wait to see. Last question. What's next for you? Like, what is next?
More partnerships. I'm going to start. I actually found the right person to start a property management company. He
Okay.
actually already owns about 20 something doors. So that is one thing. And then the other is I've realized that the banking business, banking and insurance, they're the ones with the biggest buildings in town. There's a reason for that. That business model is amazing. They have the least amount of risk in the deal. And I want to do, I'm doing a lot of private money loans, small private money loans, but hopefully maybe 2026, I'll start a hard money lending company.
Dude, we'll definitely have to talk about that because there's definitely gonna be some opportunity. I have some ideas already. So we'll connect. We'll connect on that. But Christian, again, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and we'll connect soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Diego. Great to talk to you.
Thank you for listening to the FI Investors Podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And share this with a fellow real estate investor who you think would find value in what we do. Until next time.